handful of dust. Oh, but we've had enough of these Odyssean wanderings, heard enough of the Aegean's constant roar, wept enough for innocence, for facades peeled away, faded, tattered, the stale beer aroma of forgotten, forlorn aesthetes. And yet you tell us to have hope, to look forward without fear, to stare out at the sea's waves on clear, moonlit nights with no horizon in sight, and not be sad for the things that have been lost, sure as sand through clenched fists. We're resolute in this view of the ever-changing, windswept, maddened world, where no man or woman can discover any unknown lands. And all the treasures we hold are known, and our notions are built upon the moldering foundations of gray-eyed, ragged time. The air here is musty and still, full of echoes from long-ago conversations with an earshot of small-waisted waitresses who poured legendary endless cups of Homeric black coffee. The air here is full of the rustle of unfolding newspapers that somehow go unread, clarion calls for lost truths that have evaded a generation or two or three. Let us go then, for the friends and former lovers we discard will forgive us, will forget us. Clocks on walls and watches on wrists will record the metrics of the moment, ticking away in steady unison, whispering promises of delivering us to tomorrow.
This is called Yonkers, again by Tyler, the Creator. I'm a fucking walking paradox. No, I'm not. Threesomes with a fucking triceratops, reptar rapping as a mock and deaf rock stars, wearing synthetic wigs made of Anwar's dreadlocks, bedrock harder than a motherfucking Flintstone, making crack rocks out of fish bones. Jasper trying to get grown, about 5'7" of his bitches in my bedroom, swallow the cinnamon, I must scribble the sin and shit, while Sid is telling me that she's being intimate with men. Here's a number to my therapist, tell him all your problems, he's fucking awesome with listening. Jesus called, he said he's sick of the disses. I told him to quit bitching, this isn't a fucking hotline. For a fucking shrink she's, I already got mine, he's not fucking working, I think I'm wasting my damn time. I'm clocking 6:03, going postal, this is the revenge of the dicks. That's 9 cocks, they cock 9s. This ain't no VTech shit or Columbine, but after bowling I went home from some damn adventure time. I sold myself some pink zannies, danced around the house in all over print panties. My mom's gone, that fucking broad will never understand me. I'm not gay, I just want to boogie some Marvin. What do you think of Haley Williams? Fuck her, Wolf Haley robbing him, I crashed that fucking airplane B.O.B. is in, stabbed Bruno Mars in his goddamn esophagus, and I'm gonna stop until the cops come in. I'm an overachiever, so how about I start team of leaders and pick up Stevie Wonder to be the wide receiver? Green paper, gold teeth, and pregnant gold retriever, all I want, fuck money, diamonds, and bitches, I don't need them. Where the fat ones at, I got something to feed them, I'm cooking. It's some cooking books the black kids never wanted to read them. Snapback, green chichachia fucking leaves. It's been a couple months and Tina's still a permate fucking weeb. Damn. They say success is the best revenge, so I beat Deshay up with a stack of magazines I'm in. Oh, not again, another critic writing a report. I'm stabbing any blogging hipster with a pitchfork. Still suicidal, I am. I'm Wolf. Tyler put this fucking knife in my hand. I'm Wolf. A's gonna put that fucking hole in my head. The fuck, man? Fuck the fame, all the hype. Gee, I just want to know if my father would ever like me, but I don't give a fuck because he probably just like me. A motherfucking goblin. That's what my conscience said. Then it's bunny jumped off my shoulder. Now my conscience dead. Now the only guidance I had is splattered on the cement. Action speaks louder than words, and we tried the shit dead.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
It is a source of periodic theological agony for a certain type of religious person that the world persistently fails to end. Case in point, 3 times in the last century, usually on New Year's Eve, 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses battened down the hatches and prepared for the apocalypse. They waited, like children at Christmas, for the oceans to boil and the rivers to swell with heathen blood. Every single time, every single one of them woke up on the appointed day to find that the world was just as they had left it. One wonders what they must have thought on those days. Had their God abandoned them? Maybe Jehovah had slept in. Maybe he got ineffably drunk at a New Year's Eve party, woke up at 4 p.m. on January 1st, and decided that being tardy to the end of the world was just too embarrassing. Whatever the reason, the world still moved. Il se muovo. For his own part, Dr. Alex Kingsley had thought I was right. He had been 17 on December 31st, 1974, the last miscalculated Ragnarok of the 20th century. And as an atheist trapped in a Jehovah's Witness's body, he had known damn well that the world wasn't going to end. What Alex failed to realize, what they all failed to realize, every single one, was that the end of the world need not be a global event. All you need for an end of the world is one death, just one. The death of the most important person in your life. This happens every day. The end of the world in miniature. a microcosmic Armageddon, which changes lives just as thoroughly as if God had decided to scrap the whole thing and start over. In the 27 years since 1974, 27 years that had made him an uncloseted atheist, a husband, a doctor, and a father, in that order, Alex Kingsley had come to understand these apocalypses writ small. Any doctor will tell you that the human body is fragile, but an ER doctor will say it with a certain extra gravitas, since they are the first responders to car crashes, overdoses, suicide attempts, and everything else that can shuffle a body off this mortal coil. He had watched people, friends and mothers, siblings and grandparents, curl up around the news of a sudden death. He had offered condolences, assured people he had done everything he could, and watched, from a relatively safe distance, as a stranger's universe began to implode. He didn't know it, but he was about to witness another implosion, a much more intimate one. He didn't know it, and neither did his son Elliot, age 17. They both woke up on the morning of July 9th, 2001, to find that it was the kind of midsummer day that's usually seen in advertisements for Kool-Aid and hot dogs. They embarked in ignorance on their morning run, 9 o'clock sharp. Elliot set the pace, long loping strides that induced in both of them a state of zen-like calm and sanity. "Did you go anywhere interesting last night?" Alex asked, when they were well into the first of the 4 miles they intended to cover that morning. "Nowhere new," Elliot replied, wiping the sweat out of his eyes. It was almost 80 degrees already, a minor miracle for early July in Salem, Oregon. "I had the one where I'm playing memory with the guy I can't see, and then Aunt Jilly comes in with a bowl of cherries." Alex laughed. "Jilly was in my dream too. We were at the Italian restaurant where I was working when I met your mom, and someone came out of the back and handed me a notepad and an apron and told me to get back to work." Elliot took this in with a tolerant smile. Even his father, subconscious, was under the impression that he didn't work hard enough. He was about to comment on how sad that was when Alex's cell phone, clipped to his shorts next to his pager, began to ring. That's when Elliot knew. He didn't know how, but he knew. "When?" Alex asked. "What are her vitals?" He blinked and looked up. "Okay, page me if..." He blinked some more. "Thanks." Elliot knew the answer, but he asked the question anyway. "It's Aunt Jilly and Vanessa, isn't it? We have to go get Robin," Alex said, and he bounded off in the direction they had come. Several miles away, in a little blue house surrounded by beds of stargazer lilies, Robin Westlake was sitting on her kitchen counter next to a coffee pot that was emitting burbling noises and smells that promised wide-eyed awareness of the world. In front of her stood Quinn Kingsley, son of Alex, twin brother Elliot. He was less interested in coffee and more interested in Robin's cleavage, which was right at eye level. Seeing no reason not to, he leaned forward and buried his face in it. "I was promised delicious breakfast items," Robin reminded him. "Uh-huh," Quinn said. "The eggs are in the fridge," Robin prompted sweetly. Quinn insinuated himself between your legs. "Sunny side up or over easy?" "Wouldn't you say I'm both?" Robin locked her ankles behind his back. "You must want sausage with your eggs." The laughter squealed its way out Robin's throat. "We're never going to be able to get anything done anymore, are we?" Because this was not just any breakfast. This was a post-virginity breakfast for both of them. Their first meal as people who've had sex. The cherry had been popped, the membranes broken, the rite completed. They had done it. Not well, but they had done it. It was damp and strange and powerful. Robin was sore in all the usual places, and Quinn had yet to work up the courage to ask her for a performance evaluation. The deed had been done in Robin's bed, in Robin's house, while her mother was on vacation, while both she and Quinn were supposed to be staying with other friends. That made it even better. The oblivious lovers had just started fondling again, forgetting coffee and eggs alike, although the ahem sausage would not be ignored, when they both heard a car in the driveway. "That sounds like the Jack," Quinn said, vaguely alarmed. "Right, your dad came by to say hi on his day off." Robin tweaked one of his sandy curls. They were about to resume fondling when Alex, followed closely by Elliot, burst through the front door, pretended he wasn't seeing his son's hands on a girl's breasts, and told Robin it was so much worse when it was someone he loved, that her mother had been in a car accident. "What?" Robin said, because that's what you say when you hear news like that. "We have to go," Alex told them, and Quinn and Elliot both saw at the same time that their father's hands were shaking. Quinn tasted vile. After nearly 20 years of late nights in emergency rooms, Alex was notoriously hard to rattle, and yet here it was. His singularly unflappable father was unmistakably flat. "Okay," Robin said, struggling visibly for calm. "I'll get dressed." Alex put an arm around her shoulders and started to herd her toward the door. "We don't have time for that," he said. Robin stopped. "Alex," she said, "you're scaring me." Alex wrapped her up in a hug that lifted her off the floor. "I'm sorry, Ladybug, but we just have to leave, right now." There was glass in her mother's hair. Robin would always remember that, the deep orange into sunset of her hair and shattered window glass like stars. Carefully, she began to pick the stars out of her mother's hair. Locked by strand, it passed through Robin's fingers. It was the only thing not covered by a white sheet, the only part of her that was left to touch, and so Robin did. Some time later, the last piece of glass clicked onto the floor. Robin leaned over and rested her head next to her mother's. There was the faintest breath of her perfume, just here. "I think Quinn loves me," she told her. "I know, Ladybug," Vanessa Westlake would have said, with a knowing, maternal smile. "I think I love him too," Robin would have added, and then, timidly, "He spent the night last night." "Did he?" Vanessa would have given her a very hard look. "I know, I'm sorry, I broke the no boys allowed when you're not at home rule, mea culpa. But it's been, what, a year since we started dating, and we're almost 18 now." "You are not almost 18, Vanessa would have said. "You don't turn 18 for another 6 months, and those 6 months are very important to my sanity, because when they're over, I have to admit that you're an adult." She would have sighed and then covered her face with her hands. "Did you—" Robin would have looked at the floor. "Yes. Oh, Lord. We used condoms," Robin would have assured her, "and you always told me that only I would know when I was ready, and I was." Vanessa would have taken a deep, steadying breath. Her parenting strategy, by and large, consisted of thinking about what her own mother would have done in any given situation, and then doing the opposite. "Okay," she would have said. "Okay, here's the rules. You're going on the pill, and don't be stupid. Just don't be stupid, okay?" Robin, more reasonable about most things than most girls her age, would have nodded. "I promise I won't be stupid. And if you get knocked up, I'm kicking you out of the house. That's fair." And because she was the kind of mother she was, Vanessa would have smiled then and asked, "Was it wonderful?" Robin would have smiled back. The kind of wonderful I wasn't sure actually existed. And then she would have told her mother about the new floating sensation she was experiencing and how beautiful she was when Quinn looked at her. But that white sheet was there instead. That's how Alex found her when he finally came in, staring in desperate disbelief of what death had made of her mother. A white sheet and a plume of hair. He stood there for a while and let Robin have her one last looking, then crouched down next to her. "She's not here anymore, Ladybug," he told her quietly. Robin stood up on creaky legs, got a firm hold on every last damn one of her nerves, and turned toward the door. Alex led her back into the hallway. There were 3 pairs of arms in front of her, so she fell blindly into one of them. For a few seconds, there was just nothing.
That was really good.
Right now.
Anyway, this poem is called Creatures. It's from Memoir of the Hawk. This came out, I think, like 2002-ish. Creatures. The kids were playing in the barn. They trapped a rat and were poking it with a rake and a broom. The rat was racing back and forth, and occasionally standing up on its haunches. They knew it was okay to kill the rat because rats ate grain. The rat would stop and stare at them as if pleading for mercy. Horton landed a good whack, and the rat was dragging one of its hind legs now. Then Theo clobbered him. He was an easy target now. "Let's stop this," Horton said. "Rats have to be rats. They didn't choose to be rats. This guy right here might be the Mother Teresa of rats, or the Muhammad Ali of rats, or the Franklin Roosevelt of rats. And who are we? Little nobodies with a rake and a broom." And with that, they left the barn and headed down the pond for a swim. One of the ducks was quacking, quacking, quacking. "Frank Sinatra," Theo said. Oh, America. Preface with a quote by Allen Ginsberg. "Oh, victory, forget your underwear, we're free." 1. Oh, Allen. It's all four-year universities and business majors marrying business majors. Mainstream radio and sensationalist sociopaths. Faces plugged in like hybrid cars and screen after screen after screen after screen. And no paper. No real, tangible yellowing fiber, no ink on their hands. A short robe stage walk and we push out future coffee servers and shoe salesmen and late-night club stander and liners released on the world to live the same lives but with less pesky homework and more expendable income to spend seeking psychological insulation and social isolation. And John Updike and Truman Capote to now Meyer and Rowling. And the moment where the best-known novelists write for children, and we haven't yet read the target demographic label on the cover. And for, oh, America, our shift from no ideas but in things to now no ideas just things in 3 generations, and now we have timeshare couples and Jersey Shore watchers and college loan payer offers and the multitudinous illuminated skulls of 400 Joes sitting row by row before the largest glass teat in America. Only $9 to turn off brain and live by proxy. A more interesting life for 108 minutes of explosions and abbreviated timetable wish fulfillment. And the makeup commercials, and the butt-shaping shoes, and skinny jeans, and reality television shows, and lemming protesters, and intentionally ambiguous poets, and sports commentators, and assignment deadlines, and Andy Warhol Coke advertisements, and stupid fucking beer commercials, and 24-hour media assassins monitoring the most unimportant minds of our generation. And savant dairy farmers, and Red Bull and vodka drinkers, and men who make ships inside glass bottles, and the grandfathers crafting wooden rocking horses for real grandchildren who live in real towns, and suburban Asian teenagers making beats on laptops, and doctors who spend their vacations giving malaria vaccinations, and me. Oh, America, I proffer my sarcasm, my dripping diatribe, and my vapid concern. I offer you apathy for your ideas, but concern for your people. Oh, America, I give you a middle finger raised with a smile. 2. Oh, America, I see the characters in your novels sitting on cobblestone and dreaming high-wire dreams. I pray to see your Abner at the grocery store, and I hate you for what your Mississippi pirates will grow up to be. And I hope your geckos catch their white whales, because that victory will destroy them both. And I see the social structure supporting a young man abusing his body as he attempts to substitute Kevlar and malice for skin and arteries. We flick the tube on, watch that young man run down a wooden floor and jump and throw a ball through an iron circle and knock another man to the ground while feeling the angry slap of palm on metal, and we shout, Hosanna, and cry. Bless the bruised physicality of his abrased hand. Bless the emasculated man lying under the rim, proxy of our shame and impotence. And bless the conqueror that we will never be, for our schedules are uninhabited by rigor. For we go to movies, and we drink beer and ride bicycles, and watch television on Thursday nights and play frisbee in the park with a dog when the weather breaks the chill of spring, and all this on days that we feel like it. Blessings on our capricious hosannas, more than on the Jersey lamb, because he has chosen his life and makes more than we will ever spend, though we try our damnedest. And bless this world, pressing and trapping for all 94 feet of a day's time, a basketball court of appealing commitments and lazy temptations. And bless the backsides of college girls, never appreciating what they will one day lose. And bless my mother who prays for me every day as I lose faith in the world she has sent me to. Lesson after lesson on inquiry, and a newly critical mind turning against the construction of faith and its tenets of trust and the willful suspension of disbelief. And the 22-year-old who reads Kuminyaka and Eliot will lie down with a 20-year-old learning fixed interest dividends and mortgage percentages, and they will not understand the packaging of each other, but they will let the soft animal of their bodies love what it loves, and that is okay. And I will rise far before the sun, riding bicycle in the cold with the savage attire of wind and fog and sunlessness grasping my exposed knuckles. I will work at a golf course, mowing perfection into grass and seeking peace in zen gardens of raked bunkers. Vivisecting worms beneath machinery worth more than my year's salary, and mastering bullshit during 7 a.m. spliffs before the golfers tee off. Conducting conversations inside my head, one menial, repetitive action after another, after another, after another. 3. Oh, America, you are a bitch, and I am afraid to describe you as such, and let the record show that I am a man who would say such a thing and use such a word. But I fear you no longer, because I am beginning to realize where I can go in you and what you will let me do. Some days I have tenuous contact with reality, America. Is that okay? America, if I put my weed in the microwave, will it give me cancer faster? I'm still waiting to see a voluptuous Barbie on the shelves. Marilyn Monroe would have a hard time buying a dress today, America. I've walked the aisles of your supermarkets, America, and I couldn't find the food. Norman Rockwell didn't paint Go-Gurt on the dinner table, America. Your mothers and I share a caffeine IV, America, and America, we must be kind to ourselves, because you will not be kind to us. You will use social networks and the politics of gym lockers to emasculate and objectify us. And 15-year-old schoolyard queens will lay the harsh sentence of anonymity upon us. You will confirm our irrelevance, and we will find easy jobs giving us money to buy things to make life easy. And when we die, they should etch, "His life was easy," on our tombstones. We can sleep uneasily knowing that we will shun your dream and you will ostracize us for it. And our mothers will have to explain us to the mothers in their sewing circle, and our fathers will avoid similar conversations with the fathers of our high school teammates. I am casting rocks at you, America, because I have eye drops and the worst optometrist that money can buy. He doesn't scare me, though, for I know your tort law, and it will buy me new eyes. And he still has loans yet to pay. I love you for that, and I love you for Procter and Alabaster dreams on late-night computer screens while wondering at the escalating incidents of rape. I love you for college graduates who cannot spell and coaches who cannot empathize. I love you for beautiful women tanning under a Zoloft sun, for convinced intellectuals and faithful zealots preaching to choirs from disparate pulpits. I sit in the risers wearing my Ginsburg glasses and flowing robe, and I shout, holy the surreptitious entry of intelligence in its benign oscillation toward wisdom. Holy basketball coaches eating dinner with parents' players and players' parents and telling them that their son is a good human being. Holy the kindness of small children and their refrigerated drawings. Holy the depression cure America Pharmacy gave me. Its name is exercise, and I swallow it with zeal. Holy day counting old world revolutionaries waiting for the apocalypse and reading shitty religious fiction. Holy dryers in their warm sheets and holy sliced pomegranates that shout a ripe hallelujah in the mouths of thirsty plantation workers. Holy white basketball players intimidated by black men, masquerading under headphones and suburban ebonics. Holy aspiring poets in the impending crush of anonymity and wanting critical acclaim. The sons of preachers are holy. The daughters of divorcees are holy. Holy are my parents, and holy are their soon-to-be offended sensibilities. Holy is America, though you make me wonder. Holy is your kindness, which our humanity demands. Holy are you, and holy is your dog. Oh, America, I had you for 22 years, and I am again calling you in the middle of the night.